Bonjour, this is Aaron from Aaron Gone Traveling. So today I'll be talking about cost of living in Paris. So Paris is my favorite city in the world. I know there's a lot of things that people say they don't like Paris, they think that Paris is dirty, and people are very arrogant and they don't speak English at all. I know, but I just want to tell you that I really had a good time in Paris. It's magnificent. Anyways, today is all about cost of living in Paris. Number one, so we are gonna be talking about accommodation. Renting in Paris is mind-blowingly difficult. You have no idea how many files you have to submit, like dossier as they call it, before you can get a place to stay. I'm very fortunate that I have a friend who I couch surfed with 3 years back, and he happily rented his place to me without any dossier or any rental agreement or anything like that. So in Paris, you can either live in the city center, which is divided from the 1st to the 20th arrondissement, or you can live in banlieue, which is Ile-de-France in general, like Neuilly-sur-Seine or Seine-Saint-Denis, those places where it's more affordable. I had the opportunity, a great opportunity, to live in Marais. Marais is really the heart of Paris, that's why it's expensive. So if you want to rent a one-person studio, you're looking at around 900 at least to 1,300 euros, depending on the quality of the studio as well. If you're happy to share, which they call it colocation, cost around 600, 700 per person. There are many organizations out there that look out for the student population, so most of the time it's pretty cheap. Even that, you're looking at 500 euros. So if you can't live in the city center of Paris, you can also live in banlieue, where the rent is much more affordable. For example, it's really common to find a room, a one bedroom, if you share with someone else, for like 400 euros, sometimes even 350 euros. So that makes it an appealing option if you're thinking about a low budget accommodation. The second thing that you need to know about is food and drinks. Food and drinks in Paris is incredibly expensive. You can easily spend 30 to 40 euros on a dinner, and that's normal for a lot of people. If you want to eat out during lunch because you make the most out of your buck. I think if I were to give a rough estimate, that it would be like 15 euros for a pretty basic lunch menu. You can go up to 20 and it's pretty good. They serve you tap water for free. A glass of wine is around 5 to 8 euros. A coffee costs around 1 to 150 euro, which is the best thing that I did in France, which when I'm tired walking around, I'll just sit down for a coffee and pay 1 euro. Which I'll talk more about when I speak about my experience living in Paris. There are many apps out there that offers 40% off, 50% off of their food menu, and that's incredible. The app is called La Fourchette, which means the fork. I think there's an equivalent of the fork in most parts of Europe, so you can use that almost anywhere in Europe and also in Australia and North America. You can literally search which one is offering 50% off and just go dine in that restaurant if you don't want to spend a lot of money. Sometimes if you do à emporter, which means takeaway, it costs 12 euros, 10 euros, depending on what you take away. If you do sit down in a restaurant, Ethiopian, Senegal, Chinese, Vietnamese, they range around 15 to 20 euros and you have a pretty good meal. The third thing I'm going to be talking about is groceries. Groceries, Lidl. Lidl is your best friend in Paris. It's really cheap. Sometimes I shop in Auchan as well because I'm pretty close to an Auchan. Lidl, Auchan would be the cheapest. And you have Carrefour as well. And then the others like Monoprix, Franprix, they are omnipresent. You can see them everywhere, they're always open. As you can expect with most convenience stores, Monoprix and Franprix have a more inflated price as compared to Lidl and Auchan. There's a G20 just across my apartment, and that's really expensive. In a supermarket, expect to pay 1 to 2 euros for a bottle of beer depending on the size as well, and depending whether it's domestic or imported as well. For example, I'm talking about like Cronenbourg or C64. It costs maybe 150 to 180 euros for a pint for a 500 mils. That's pretty good in a supermarket. But if you go to Franprix, for example, it will be 230 or 250 really. And G20 will further inflate the price. So if you can shop in Carrefour or Lidl or Auchan, great. But if you can't, you try not to shop at G20 because it's expensive. Another place where you can do grocery shopping is the market. Markets in France. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. Luckily, fresh produce in markets in Paris are pretty affordable. For example, you can get half a kilo of apple for €1, half a kilo of oranges for €1. You can get mushroom, half a kilo for like 4 or 5 euros, onion, half a kilo, €1, chicken, half a kilo, chicken breast really, for like 5 6 euros. And then you can get onions for 1 to 2 euros. A bottle of 1 liter milk would be 1 to 150 euro at most. So it's a great place to shop if you want to cut some costs. The closest one to me is Marché des Enfants Rouges. It means the red children market. I think it's a really creepy name. But anyways, the market is great. There are a lot of food and groceries that are really fresh. There's a Moroccan place I really like and it's cheap as well. The fourth thing is the public transport. So I think public transport in Paris is very well done. It's very old. It's more than a century old, but it's really good. Frequency is great, coverage is great. It's just a bit small. I pay 75 euros per month because I use metro everywhere. 75 euros, pretty good. It includes everything. If you don't want to pay 75 euros, you can get the weekly option, which I think is 20 or 25 euros per week. If you don't want to use a weekly ticket, you can use a carnet. So carnet is group of 10 tickets. It's much cheaper if you get a group of 10 instead of 1. So a carnet costs 16 euros 90 cents. And a single ticket costs €1.90. So you save a total amount of €2.10. Really, it's one ticket free for you. I highly recommend, if you can, to get a monthly ticket or a weekly ticket because you save a lot more money in that way. If you can't, just get a carnet in lieu of a ticket. In terms of ride sharing in Paris, normally people just use Uber because they have the most fleet in Paris, and in terms of price, it's the cheapest as well. Especially they have Uber pool in Paris as well. If you don't mind sitting with a stranger or looking for that deep connection, maybe you meet someone in the Uber pool, I think it's a great option. You pay 10 euros for a 10-minute ride or 15-minute ride. So another thing that I really want to add to the public transport part is the e-sharing riding options. So they are bicyclette and trottinette. So bicyclette is bicycle, but then it's e-sharing. And then you have trottinette, which is e-scooter. So like Franprix and Monoprix, e-scooter and e-bicycles, they are everywhere as well. Even though nowadays there are a lot of people just throw them everywhere and it has caused a lot of problem. But it's really cheap to use. If you do take the advantage of using it, you can save a lot of time walking, really. Paris is big. The roads are crazy. So I was subscribed to the green one. I think it's called Lime. I had 10 euros. I just unlock it with €1 and then they calculate every minute, 20 cents per minute, I can't remember, but that's how cheap it is. So if you want to save some time or you just want to explore Paris on the trottinette or e-scooter, you can use that. It's great and cheap. The fifth thing that I'm gonna be talking about is partying. I love partying. I think everyone knows that. Let's talk about other entertainment first because I will talk non-stop about partying. So entertainment in Paris is very expensive as well. No wonder it's one of the most expensive cities in the world. Of course, there's a lot of free entertainment dotted around Paris. You don't have to spend a lot of kaching to have a great day in Paris. For example, most museums have free days, and if you are EU resident, you can even get into some museum for free. For a movie ticket, it's around 12 euros. I think that's the standard. There's many other private enterprise or private establishments that do 6 to 8 euros depending on where you go as well. I can't think of other forms of entertainment, so I'm just gonna be talking about partying. So partying is a national sport in Paris. I think French people really do like to party, and they party very differently. I'll just break it down for you. So in terms of drinking, I would like to separate this into 3 main domains because that's how the French parties as well. So you have the pre-drinking, which is before. That's how they call it, like before. That basically means that you get your own alcohol and you get very tipsy. So I think the best bet is to go with French wine because most French wines or all French wines are great. No, there's some really dodgy wines out there. You know the next morning. Personal experience. Anyways, you can get a pretty decent French wine for like 7 euros and you can drink it away for like just 7 euros. How great is that? A 6-pack can cost from 10 euros to 15 euros depending on whether it's domestic or it's imported. Happy hours is the greatest thing in Paris. There are many bars in Paris that offers different kind of happy hour. Some starts from 2 p.m. and then some starts at 6 p.m. And the happy hour is actually happy hours, because it's from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. some of them, and then some of them from 5 p.m. and to 10 p.m. That means you can just do 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. at one bar, and then when you're happy, and then you can do another bar until 10 p.m. and you literally have like a full 8 hours of happy hours. Isn't that great? So Mr. Good Beer is a really handy app if you are living in Paris. It basically just tells you the name of the bar, the duration of the happy hour, and the price of the cheapest pint, which is very important. And now we talk about the most fun part, the during. So partying in Paris is super fun. You have to remember that Paris is a center of migration for many people in France and many people in Europe. Also Latin America, North America, South Africa, North Africa, Southeast Asia, East Asia, South Asia, Australia, everywhere in the world dream to go to Paris. That's why the party is super fun. However, one of the biggest downfalls of partying in Paris is that club entry is stupidly expensive. So for cover, you can expect to pay from 15 euros to up to 30 euros if there's an event, and a drink in the club will cost up to 12 to 15 euros. It's super expensive. So I highly recommend doing your pregame really well before hitting a club, because you just break your bank if you're not careful. Or if you're really rich and you don't mind, just hit the club. Or you can call me if you're really rich. Anyways, so other things include my mobile data provider. I was with Orange, which is Orange. Orange is actually everywhere in most countries in Europe. And I just have to tell you that the tourist rate and a resident rate is very different. If you're a tourist, you're paying 40 euros for 10 gigabyte. Whereas if you're a resident, you are paying 20 euros for 50 or 40 gigabyte. I can't remember, but I had a lot of gigabytes in the end. So I just urge you to do your residence card or anything that proves that you're a resident instead of buying a tourist rated SIM card, because that's just gonna be more expensive. Another thing you should watch out for is those smaller providers. It's really hard to cancel. So if you are with them, you have to make sure that you cancel, because they'll keep charging your credit card. So on average, I spend around 750 euros to 800 euros per month. Broken down into rent is 300 euros. Sorry, I just have to look. Eating out is 250 euros. Entertainment is 100 euros. Transport is 75 euros. Mobile is 25 euros. If I were to buy groceries, I'll be paying, I think, 200 euros, I think. And because I live in Marais, if I don't get a friend rate, I think it will be around 700 euros. So it will be 1,350 euros if I do it all by myself without the help of my friend. So that's the cost of living in Paris. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like this video, give me a like and please subscribe. Thank you so much. Ciao, ciao.